So we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Aaron Rupp, and I'm here at Corporate Snowy in Salt Lake City. And we are joined by Lyle Rupp, who is a brother of ours in Cincinnati. If you guys find yourselves on the east side of the country, Lyle is a great resource to be able he's a distributor for us as well as running his own shaved ice stand. So he's a great resource to be able to get those things at cheaper shipping and stuff like that as well. So you can utilize him there. And as you know, if you've gone through a lot of these webinars, Lyle has been a huge contributor to them, and we're grateful for him. Lyle is a big numbers guy, and while we all believe it in our minds and see it happen, Lyle's the one that puts it to paper, and we're grateful for it. So I just quickly wanted to start the meeting and talk quickly about what we're doing here with the webinars. And obviously you can see here on the screen that our topic today is marketing your Snowy. And we're going to talk about different ways and different things that we've all done it. And I really would like feedback and what you guys have done, those of you who are in the business and who have done different things to be able to draw people to your stand. Anyway, get a lot of that feedback, and we'll be sharing what we do. And I also want to open it up to know, or to let you know, that we will have a question and answer session at the end. And don't worry about it, the topic being necessarily focused on this. It'll be great if it follows the topic, but any questions you have concerning shaved ice, the business, in general, we would love to answer those. That's what we're here for, is to talk about shaved ice and about Snowy in general and how we tackle that. We, again, as we've talked about a lot of things with Snowy, I've written some things in the past on how we have revolutionized the industry, and we really have. We've worked really hard to change how shaved ice is done, and we've pointed out that in the past 15 years, and I would argue even more, that anything that has been innovative and new out of shaved ice, it has come from Snowy. We live it. We do exactly what you do, and we innovate each and every day to try and make that better, to make it more profitable, to make it easier, so you can show up, do business, make money, and go home, and make that as quick as possible. And anyway, so we'll go ahead and move forward. And one of the things that I wanted to point out quickly is our location-based portion of our site. If you go to our website, and I'm actually going to click on the site itself, and you go to it and you actually go over here to community. I have it going right to that site, but I want to show you how to find it. You go to community and go to vendor locations. And on this location page, it will actually kind of point out that these are people who are selling shaved ice. Like right here, please note that these are not locations to buy equipment. So it's you guys who are running the business. And I would say first and foremost, if you are, obviously if you're here live with us, wait until after. But one of the first things you should do is go here and put your location there so that you can be found. Because I have literally gotten calls from like Florida, Texas, from various spots where people are like, hey, can you guys come and do a venue for us on your site? The closest location I have is you, and I'm here in Salt Lake City. And so we do our best to like find somebody in that area to be able to refer them to it. But really, it needs to happen through you guys and through this. It's a very easy way for people to find you. And if somebody wants Snowy specifically, they're going to come to Snowy's site, and they're going to look on that map to be able to find you. We used to have a much more populated map on the old site. Unfortunately, when we moved over to the new site, we can't just grab that information and drop it on the new one, because we don't know how much is current and how much is not. So please take the time to fill that out, and it will be beneficial for you to do so. And if you look at that, so there's the map. If you scroll down here at the bottom and it says have a location, get on the map. That's where you go to fill out your information. It'll ask you for your name, your location, what address you want to put there. Obviously, you want to put the location of the building and not your home address if you're running your business out of your home, so that people can go to that actual location. and it asks you what you want published. You put your phone and your email. Do you want that stuff available? So that's up to you. I would say absolutely put that out there. Make it as easy as possible for venues to be able to find you and contact you. And this is something that was a great feature on our old site, but unfortunately we had to add people. They had to call us. I had to put it on the site. We don't need to do that anymore. You go out and do that. So if you're watching this as a recording, pause the recording right now and go put yourself out there. It is a benefit to do so. And with that said, so let's to the next one. The one thing that I want to talk about, and obviously in the email and on the blog, I put a social media feature, and we're going to be talking about.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
A couple of things.
Yeah.
Before you jump off that, can I put in there if I'm a mobile unit?
Yes. You can put in.
How do I do that?
You can put in any description at the bottom.
So I don't have to necessarily say I'm a stationary.
Correct. So
I can just say, I want to do this or this.
Because people, so you have right here a location description. You can fill that out and say exactly what you do and what you are. They'll be able to see all of that. Now.
Okay, so I can give the detail.
Yeah, now it's great for you. And say, you can put in multiple locations, by the way. So if you.
That was my other question.
Yeah, and I used to have, like, if you see me here, this Energy Solutions Arena. Oh, well, I don't know. It's right here, this Energy Solutions Arena. That was me. I had a stand in that stadium, but I also had one at Spring Mobile Ballpark. Had one at Miller Motor Sports Park. I put all of those. So all of those zip codes and everywhere where that was, if somebody was looking for someone to come and do shaved ice, they could find me there like that. So yeah, by all means, you can put up multiple locations and hit all the zip codes that you're in. Make it easy for them to find you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. And okay, so going back to this, so again, we're going to be talking about social media, and that was one thing that we kind of put as a front cover, and there's some benefits of doing that, but what I think is even more important is what I call hitting the pavement. And before I even get into that, one thing that I thought about while I was prepping for this is make it a pleasant experience for the customer. I can't tell you how many times I go and even get like fast food now. And by the way, Estella has come in and joined us as well.
Hello.
Say hello. And so I'm looking at her out of the corner of my eye, seeing if she's had the same experience. But man, I fast food anywhere else, I get people who are just unpleasant, and it makes me not want to buy from them. And I don't know if anybody else has had that experience, but that's one thing that I want to stress is, for some reason, you need to run your business, and you need to monitor how your kids are acting, how they interact with the public. Because if they're grumpy that they're there, then obviously that's going to affect whether people return to your stand. And there's also cleanliness. Keep your stand clean, keep it sharp, and have people that are pleasant. There's one guy, I'll just use his first name, Kevin, and when he first bought his Snowy, man, he would call me and he would talk to me like 2 hours a day, every time after an event, and I loved it. He was brand new to it. He was all fired up, and he talked about how much he interacted with the crowd, and that's huge. I also have a sister-in-law that I've watched firsthand, and she'll literally lean down on the counter and talk to children and be like, what flavor are you going to go get? And stuff like that. And you could see parents light up and be like, wow, thank you for giving attention to my child and make this more of an experience than just buying a shaved ice. So make that a pleasant experience. And again, we talk about our product a lot. It has to be good. It has to be tasty for those people to come back. And the reason that I'm hitting this is, a lot of times we can put a bunch of attention on how we can acquire new customers when really a huge focus should be on how do we retain the customers that we have? How do we keep them coming back? Do you have an environment where they can sit down and enjoy it if you're at a permanent location? Do you make it easy for them to find you if you have a mobile location? And we'll talk about some more of those things. But one thing that I have, so I say hit the pavement, one thing that I've done is use coupons. Now I'm going to share with you a kind of a bad experience that I have, and that's a location that I got, and I kind of had the gut feeling, you know what, don't do this location. It's an outdoor entrance of an indoor mall, and but I thought, you know what, it's worth a shot, and it gets us on the property. I'm going to try it, and so we started doing it, and man, people just didn't know we were there. That's kind of the first rule of marketing, right? If you're not going to be able to sell your product unless people know you're there and they're aware of what you do and what you're selling. And we would have people constantly walk by and be like, and we would make jokes. You know, they'd walk by with a big drink coming out of the mall, and we'd be like, "You should have got a Snowy instead." And they'd be like, "I know, but we didn't know you were here." And then we would have that fun conversation with them in order to get them back next time. And anyway, and so what we did to take that even a step further is we would walk the mall and hand out coupons. We would literally walk through the mall and be like, "Hey, half off Snowy's today. We're outside entrance 1." And that would make everybody aware. We didn't have to pay any money to advertise in the mall. They wanted us to actually do these signs and billboard type signs inside the mall. And we thought that's not going to benefit us. What would benefit us is going out and interacting with the people that are in the mall, find those who have children because they would really like to go and talk to them that way. And so we would go around and hand those out, and those days would be big for us, and they made all the difference in the world. So don't be afraid to go hit the pavement, go interact with people. It's a fun product, have fun with it, and make it pleasant for them to come. The other thing that I touched on there specifically was create promotions in other stores. And now this actually applies to that location I was just referring to, and it also applies to events. And what I mean by that is, like there was a place called Sea Life. It's an aquarium, so it would bring children, it would bring school classrooms, school children to come and attend there. And so what we did is we went and put a promotion on their desk and said, "Hey, if you show us your ticket from Sea Life, then you get 50% off, or sorry, 50 cents off of a large." And this did two things. One, it brought every one of those people that were kind of missing us. They would all make that trip and come there. And it would also encourage them to buy a large instead of any other size. So while we were knocking 50 cents off, we were still making a good sale because we were selling our largest size. And
Hey, Aaron,
yeah,
can you give me the screen for a moment?
yeah. If I can find my mouse.
You know, you talk about a brochure and that kind of stuff. I thought it might be worth showing. This is, sorry, trying to get to it. This is what we use
Lyle,
as an ad in a newspaper.
I'm still not seeing yours. Oh, here we go. Gotcha.
And we took an actual picture. Now this is blown up. This is actually like a 6x8 flyer. And it goes in a little magazine, but it had a picture of our location. Like us on Facebook. Here's our flavors, our location, our hours. And we did $1 off a medium or a large. I can put an expiration date. I put a limit of 4 per flyer, or 4 per ad coupon. There's the right term. And this went out to 40,000 people, and I was probably going through about 20 a day.
Cool.
So
well,
that's just to give you an idea.
No, that's great. Can I ask, what did it run you to do that in your paper?
It cost me about $100 every 2 weeks. So we ran it for we did 3 times. This went out twice a month, and I did it for a month and a half.
Cool.
Just a little community paper, very cheap.
So it was a localized paper. Nothing,
yeah.
Nothing too big. Perfect.
So that was just, and it promoted our bus, all kinds of stuff. Okay, you can have the screen back now.
Okay, let's see here. Do I have a? I just lost something. Sorry, one moment.
I've sent it back to you.
Okay. Let me know when you see my screen.
I can see it.
All right. Oops. Okay, so yeah, so the promotions in other stores, and then the other thing that we would hand out and that we would leave on countertops in different places. Oh, before I move on to that, the punch cards on the create promotions in other stores. What I was going to say is at events this works as well. You can literally, like, if you're at an event and you're buddies with the guy who's making chicken kebabs, it's his benefit too to say to his people, hey, if you buy like the double souvlaki, you get $1 off of shaved ice next door, and all those people are going to come to you. And he just did an upsell by using your product, and you just got all of those people from him as well. So I just think it's huge to be able to spread that out.
It's basically networking. If you guys can network, yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. I was just saying, it really comes down to just really networking with the people you are surrounded by. It's amazing how you can, like you just said, work off each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And instead of bringing up networking, there's actually professional business networking groups too. Even Chamber of Commerce, they have networking meetings. Go to those. That's where you can meet like PTA presidents and people that are doing different things that are involved in education, which is a big market for the bus and people that are running different events. You can find event organizers. I mean, tons of people are at those. Go there and attend those, and so that people know you're there. Um, and then punch cards. Everybody knows what a punch card is. And again, this goes back to retaining the customers that you have. Man, if you give them a benefit to come back, it's a big, big deal. That people will fill up that card because they're just dying to get that free one. So use those, and those are available on snowy.com. We actually have them already made. You can buy them in. Do you remember how many are in a stack? Is it 50? So you can buy them in stacks of 50. We have those made up. Use them. They're a great tool. And so going on to social media, social media is like, man, it's fantastic to be able to use it and to be able to get the exposure that it can give you. But like with anything else, it's like the chicken and the egg. You need to have a fantastic product, and you need to gain some popularity even before doing this, to give people something to talk about. And one way to be able to grow that channel too is use your product, use that experience, and then tell people, like you saw on Lyle's flyer. And I don't know, we're getting a lot of noise. Is that mute your Lyle for a second?
Okay.
Anyway, so one thing that you can do to be able to grow your social channel is to provide promos only through that social channel or through those social channels. And what I mean by that is, like, we walked the mall, we were giving physical coupons, right? Only those people that received that coupon were even aware of that. Now, if you want your social media to grow, then you basically tackle that the same way. You go out and tell people, you can give them something physical like Lyle did in his brochure, and say, like us on Facebook. And what he could even add to that is, like us on Facebook, and you'll see deals and different things that you can receive through us, through following us on Facebook. And then all those people who are following you socially, they're the only ones who are aware of that, and so it causes that to grow. And so it's a great way to put out promotions and different things. Now, something that I'll talk about at the end of this one, but I'll touch on it quickly here, is just be careful how you approach it. Whatever promos that you want to do through social media, you want to make sure it applies to anyone and everyone who gets on here. So you put out a post on Facebook, or you post a tweet that says 50% off all Snowy today. Then anybody who received that, they can come and they can show you that, and everybody gets that. It's not a winner. And we'll talk about contests and different things that you can do later, but you need to be careful how you approach that. Now the next thing is to tweet your location. Now this initially, when you think about this, what comes to mind is, okay, if I had a mobile stand or if I had like a snowy bus, it would be a great thing to tweet your location. There's a guy called Kogi Tacos, and I'm a big fan of Korean food. And so I read about this guy who would make Korean barbecue tacos, and he did it out of a food truck. But one of the greatest things that he did is he was one of the first food trucks to use Twitter, and he got this following, and then the following just grew and grew and grew because he would go to different locations. He didn't go to the same spot all the time, and he would tweet his location, and then people would literally gravitate to him. They would leave one area of the city and go to him because they knew the different people that were going to be there. It was a social environment, and everybody who related to him, it was just a fun experience, and everybody kind of like anticipated where he would be. That's a great thing to do especially if you own the bus. Now, the one thing that I thought about it too is it's great also to tweet your location if you are doing events. So obviously, if you have a kiosk or something that's more mobile, but you can't just stop anywhere and do business because you're not allowed, you have to have the vehicle to be able to do that kind of thing. But if you are at an event, it's great to like tweet that, to put that out on Facebook. I mean, hit all of those social channels, even take a picture of your location at the event and put it on Instagram. I mean, anything and everything you can to put that out there. And that does two things. One, you'll probably educate half the people that there was even a venue. There's so many venues anymore that people sometimes are unaware that anything's even happening. So they could be like, wow, there's a fair going on right now, or there's some kind of festival. Let's go check it out. And you were the one that brought them there, and so they're obviously following you, and they're going to come and buy from you while they're there. It's always good to increase the population at that event, or the attendance rather at that event, for you and for everyone else there. Imagine if all the vendors at every venue were tweeting their location and what they were doing, and it would bring out lots of people and make them aware of that event. So that's a big one. Tweet your location. Make it exciting for people to come to you. The next one was create events, and I'm actually going to unmute Lyle for this one. It's one thing that Lyle does at a permanent location, and I've never done this myself, so I'd like him to talk about it. But Lyle, you want to talk about like some of your theme nights and different things like that?
Well, what we were doing there was trying to find a way to get people to come to the building, especially on our off nights when things would be slow. So we had a Tuesday night as our worst night, and we started picking up these theme nights, saying, how do we get people to come and give them a reason, something fun to do? So we started putting out a flyer that listed all of our themes for the entire summer. And everybody knew that you come on a Tuesday, and with one of these themes, we'll just take a picture of you, it gets sent to me, I pick a winner. Now, two things occur. When they show up, if they're dressed like last week was, or sorry, what's today, Thursday? Tuesday was pet night. And anybody that showed up with their pet got $1 off any size. And then we had the employee would take a picture, forward it to me, and then we select the top two, put them out on the web, and let everybody vote which one they like. And that will determine our winner. We had everything from, we had a lady with a stuffed animal of an elephant, and she had a snow cone made in the colors to match her elephant, to I had cats and dogs. I had one person bring their friend with a leash. It was, the diversity was hysterical. And that's every week. We do, week before was come dressed as a Snowy. I had people with dyed hair, to their favorite color. That one didn't get as creative as I thought it would. We've had 4th of July week was red, white, and blue. And so it's just something different every week. And they can, every time they're at a building, my employees are handing a brochure saying, here it is, and promoting it. So it gets it. Yesterday, we hit our first 90-degree day. So it was show your tweet, Facebook, or Instagram, and you can get any size for $1 for the entire day. And we had about 50 people take advantage of that.
So
that tells me we've got a good reach.
So they would Instagram like their experience at your location. Is that what you're saying? And then show that?
No. When we post it, 90 degrees today, show up at Snowy at any of our locations, and you can get any size for $1.
Gotcha.
So then they either print off the computer or use their phone and say, hey, I just got this notice, and we give them $1 any size.
Yeah, that's great. You know, my mind went another direction on that, which I think would be great as well. If you, because you have everybody that follows you and they have everybody that follows them, if you actually have people come up and show you their retweet of your tweet, does that, I may be losing some people here, but people can retweet what you tweeted out, or they could even show you their like of your post on Facebook and stuff like that, where you can see them performing some action on what you posted. That would be huge.
Yeah, it's like basically double marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So that might be something to do, Lyle. That's I like that idea.
Now you're beyond my capacity.
No, it's not. I mean, if people are showing you something physically anyway, that's a great way to do it. Okay, and then
get a good response to it.
What's that? Sorry?
I said we get a good response.
Yeah.
And we're at about 1,300 people that like us, which is pretty good since 4 months ago I was at 100.
That's awesome. Okay, and I just put another point up here, which is host contests. Now, Lyle, you've kind of done this, and I'm putting that out there because contests are a great thing to do. They generate interest, and but Snowy, on the corporate side, I think when you're a little bigger, you got to worry some more because we're doing it on a different level than just at stands. But I have be careful next to it. Right now, we're generating some content that we can have on Facebook and in different social media, but we have to be careful how we approach it. Facebook looks down highly on basically trying to sell likes, and so you have to be careful on how you approach it. Otherwise, they can just shut you down. And right now we're kind of all in the middle of that. We are trying to do some contests here at Snowy where we'll be giving away some little Snowies and stuff like that for people who participate in our social media. So all of you who are listening and watching, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and all that, and pretty here shortly we'll be giving away some little Snowies. And anyway, so we just hit our 30-minute mark, so I wanted to open it up to questions and answers. Again, they can be about anything in the business. Lyle, something is really loud there.
Go through a few questions. We had a couple of people. Paul asked, is the flyer available in an editable? I will have to see because I had that created, but I could probably get it.
Okay.
And then it can be modified. Yeah, I know I can, so that won't be a problem. Email me, lyle@snowy.com.
Yeah, and I'm gonna open up here real quick. So I'm opening this up to everyone. One second. I'm gonna mute it here again real quick, just so you can hear me. This always gets loud, so if you're not going to comment, you may want to just make sure you're quiet, or if you have the ability to mute yourself, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to open it up in case people want to ask vocally. Encourage that. It's often more fun to hear other people speak than just us. So please feel free to ask your questions that way as well. Go ahead. You're unmuted. Yeah, Lyle, has anybody, I'm going to leave this open to everybody. We have a question from Desiree. If anyone types prepaid cards, I believe. Actually, her correction is there. I've never done a prepaid card. You ever done anything like that, Lyle?
I sell gift cards like crazy. We have $5, $10, and $20 gift cards, and I probably sell $1,000 worth. I probably about 2,500 a summer.
Cool. Okay, sorry, that's quite a bit of echo there again.
And we can provide that in the format as well.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? No. Okay. Does anybody have an experience of what they've done? Anything interesting? Different approach on marketing your stand you'd like to share?
Well, I'd like to ask Lyle if he could tell me where he gets his gift cards from.
Email me and I'll send you the template. I just went to a printer and had it printed on plastic, and then we have a unique hole punch, and we just punch it when they bring it in.
Nice. Okay, thank you.
So email me and I can send you a copy of it.
Okay.
Aaron, another thing is you can plan activities. We are working on a Snowy Olympics, and it's just kind of for fun.
Lyle, hang on a minute. Okay, Lyle, I'm going to make it just so we can hear you again so we don't get that echo.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens is we were trying to figure out how to get people involved and do something for the community. So we're going to be holding the Snowy Olympics, and it's a fundraiser for the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. Figure we ought to give back since we contribute. This will be $10 to get in, and then they get a t-shirt and a free Snowy. And the t-shirts are being donated. I have the ice all being donated and free use of the property. And the contests are like, how fast can you eat a 32-ounce snow cone? How far can you carry 2 5-gallon jugs of sugar water? We're having a target that you'll be throwing a snowball at. And I can remember all these. Kids are working on it. There's going to be 10 events, but this will be, we're getting the radio involved, we're getting television, just something fun, and it'll get our name out there again. Who knows how many different ways and different times.
Cool.
So it's a big promotional thing.
That's awesome.
I love it. That's a great idea. Okay. Anybody else have any other comments, questions? I'm wanting to know how your block shaver is doing in comparison to cube shavers. Our block shaver has taken off. It is probably, we've had the 3,000 for so long. To compare it to numbers to that, obviously it can't compare right away, but as far as like it selling, the block is huge right now. I would say it's our most popular shaver right now, and I'm looking to Stella to verify that. She watches that go through and she's nodding her head.
The difference between our block shaver and the other block shavers on the market right now is that it is a little bit faster, which is great, because that's what the big issue is with those block shavers out there, is they're so slow and they hold up the lines. So this machine that we have, this block shaver, is phenomenal. It shaves it a little faster, and you don't have to mold it just like our other shavers. It has the same concept where you can just go ahead and shave it into the cup, that nice powder, and then it domes just like the other ones. So it's a great machine.
Perfect, thank you. And to comment on Lisa's comment. Lisa, are you in Japan? Is that right? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
I have no idea what
time is it?
What time it is in Japan right now. But to your question, sorry, I'll read this to everyone because it doesn't come through on the recording. She asked, do you ever give away free product for a short time during a festival? We tried one in which every hour some free product was given out to customers. It worked for us, but wasn't sure it was that effective. I've done that kind of thing, but it isn't necessarily like I didn't promote it. But if I ever felt like people weren't coming to my stand, I would give away. I would go out to kids and say, hey, I'll give you guys a free one to like 5 different kids if you guys stand in line for 5 minutes. and it would like generate this line, and then as soon as people started lining up behind them, then I would start moving them forward, and I would do that. Well, in my opinion, I've always been a big believer in lines create lines. People will always go somewhere where there's a line rather than if there is not one. They're uncomfortable to be the first ones to walk up. Jane asked, any idea when we will be able to see the new Snowy Naturals
The flavors?
bus?
Oh.
Actually,
We can do it.
is it done?
Yeah, Callie was doing a bus around that.
I believe it's very close to being done. So what we'll do is in the next couple days we'll get some snapshots and get it on the website so people can see it.
Yeah, and we're tying a video. I have a video of the kiosk in action, and I'm wondering if I might just put that up anyway. We were actually going to tie it in with a video with a little Snowy and kind of natural products at home and stuff like that as well. Maybe we'll just do a couple separate ones, but it's good looking. And her bus, I actually thought her bus was supposed to be done for this weekend.
I think it is done. We just don't have any shots of it.
So what we'll do is we'll probably shoot it this weekend at an event, and so you can see that. But yeah, that bus is right here. It's done.
Our natural flavors though are available at this point for purchase. I just wanted to let you know. I know we did a soft launch a couple weeks ago, but we're in full force right now. So just letting y'all know.
Also, she asked how long the blades last on the block shaver for rotation. You rotate it 3 times. I'm not sure.
I said 10,000.
I was wondering if we said 10,000. We do then. Okay. So 10,000. And for those of you who are unaware, there's actually pressure points on the blade. So that blade actually has 3 lives to it. And so what she means by rotations is when you feel like your blade is done, you can actually pick up that blade, turn it like a third of a turn or whatever, and you have a whole new blade surface that's barely been touched, and you can do that 3 times. That's a really cool feature of the block. Yeah, Lisa, it's 2:30 a.m. Bless your soul. You are devoted. All right, Michael.
You're a sucker for punishment.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel really important. Thanks. No, so Michael asked, I've tried both shavers, and it's not close to IMO. The block shaver is pretty incredible. My kids prefer the ice by far over the 3000. Yeah, and it is. And I want to add a comment to that. We've done this forever, and I want people to know you can make the 3000. You can make the snow so fine and so fluffy that it won't even take syrup. It's hard to describe, but it's so cold and so fluffy and so fine that with that comment, I want to add to it because ice is huge. Like for instance, I didn't have a cooler. I threw a bunch of ice in the back of my truck, and I drove to a neighborhood party and did shaved ice, and I had like 5 bags that were sitting in the back of a truck just melting, and it was not good. And I ended up just being like, forget that ice, and I went and bought some fresh ice, grabbed a cooler to make sure it would stay cold, and man, it was a huge difference. So I just want people to know if you are not getting a satisfactory product from the 3000, change your ice approach. It's huge. It's everything. We always say bigger and rounder the better. You want that thing to be really cold ice. You want it to be just glossy from being frozen, and you can get some fine snow from that.
I'd like to add to that comment, just so you know, just so you know, like he was saying, the ice plays a huge factor in the quality of the shaved ice that you provide. So with said, even though Michael had mentioned that he really likes the block shaver, um, it is not a true apple to apple comparison in regards to a block and a cube shaver. They're totally two different types of shave. But like Aaron was saying, that Snowy 3000 shaver, depending on how you what kind of ice you put in it, really really makes it so that you can, well, how do I say this? Just depending on the type of ice you put in is it's gonna provide the quality that you want out of that machine. But the block shaver is always going to be a fine shave because it's shaving this large piece of ice. So a lot of people like that, and so that's why they're two different. They're totally two different things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and there's a follow-up question here on the block. By the way, thank you for the compliment on the block. I just wanted to make sure that we talked about the 3000 too, and that you can get a sweet product from it. But the block is unreal. And thank you for the compliment on it. It really does make an incredible product. And we've always touted our 3000 and our cube shavers as being so wicked fast that you can handle a huge crowd. Well, we just invented a block shaver that can pull off the same achievement. So we're very, very proud of that machine. Yeah, go ahead.
Couple of things on that block shaver. The key thing is availability of ice, and that leads to the next question that was on there.
yeah,
Right.
If you can't get block, then the cube's the only way to go. As
Right.
you said, our cube, if you manage your ice right, by the way, that's 17 to 23 degrees, will give you ice almost as close.
and
Block
Lyle, a lot
gives
of
you a
people.
consistency.
I was gonna say a lot of people can't always get block ice, and
Right.
they don't want to make it. So the 3000 shaver does provide a lot more of a convenience by far.
I'm one of those. There isn't a block. Nobody makes block ice in Cincinnati. The only block is what they call a compressed ice,
Right.
and that makes chunkier ice with a block
Yep.
than I get with cube.
Now,
So it's got to be the clear block.
Right.
yeah, and I want to emphasize that because people think they're going and buying block ice. So what ice companies do is they get cubes that are left over from their cube machine. They'll add water to it, and they'll compress all that together and freeze it again. And that ice has voids and holes and chips and everything all through it that you literally would get a better product from the 3000 doing cube than you would from the block. So if you're going to do block, you have a huge advantage to do a solid block. Find someone who produces that. If not, then yeah, you make your own. And that brings me to Raquel's question: do we sell molds? We do have molds, and to be honest with you, you can actually go. What we found to be the best are these Tupperware molds. But we just fill I don't have the dimensions with me right now, but we have dimensions that are like perfect. And you fill that with water, freeze it, and then just run hot water over the outside of the mold, and your block falls right out. And you can put that in a bag, and that way you can ship it around and move it to your events and stuff like that as well.
The tallest, the ice can only be 12 inches in length. That's the tallest it can be, and then it's 6 by 6, so it's like a rectangle square.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
otherwise, you'll have to cut it.
And then I have a comment from Marion, or a question rather. I'm considering opening a Snowy business. What advice do you have for someone looking to start? Man,
Where do we start?
Yeah, we could go forever. Marion, I would say one of the first things too is if you have some time, go through the webinars. We've talked a lot about marketing, finding a location, all those things that you need to do. But I would say if my biggest piece of advice would be find a location, anyway, just make sure you have a sweet location, and that people will be able to find you. We talked about marketing this time. It's a lot easier if people are almost fall on you than trying to get them to come to you. Like I shared my experience at the mall. I've had great locations and I've had awful locations, and unfortunately, one that I've actually done this year is one of my most awful. And like I said I had the gut feeling, don't do this, and I ignored it. But I can still recover. I still have ways. And one thing that we always tell people is if you're not making like $350 a day, move, get somewhere else because it can be far more profitable than what you're doing. I unfortunately even signed a contract. I was dumb, to be frank about it. And so just make sure you get a good location, and if it isn't a good location, move,
What do they
because
say?
you can make a good
Location,
profit.
location.
Yeah.
And again, this just drives back to some of our prior webinars. We've had the ones that talk about which business, should I do events, should I do a bus, should I do locations. We've done the one on how to find events, the webinar on how to find a location. So go out and watch those. They give you a good idea. And then Miriam, I text or chatted with you at my phone number. You're welcome to call me.
Perfect. And Raquel, you bring up a great one. Says, will Snowy look at cups that are not styrofoam? Sustainable, concerned parents, kids. Yeah, and actually we'll be doing flower cups, and we've done them kind of in the past. Well, really, we kind of shared with where people could get them and stuff like that, because we didn't supply them because our shavers were a little more difficult to use with flower cups. And those are a very popular cup, and they're plastic. They're not styrofoam. But we now have just created an attachment on the shaver. This is probably a good place to talk about that. That will act as a magnet. It will actually snap into your shaver, into the mouth of where your cone topper is, and it will allow you to pack flower cups into it. It's cool. Anyway, so that we're literally like on the brink. Within like the next week, we should have
For
those.
example, I'm doing some pricing out on paper cups, so more detail to follow.
Yeah, and yeah. Anyway, so there is a lot moving that way, and we'll have other cups that are available, and they'll actually be cheaper to ship as well. Another concern with styrofoam cups is we have a bunch of cups here, but to ship a box of 1,000, that's considered oversized, so you pay dearly in shipping to have a logoed cup that's coming from Salt Lake City. So anyway, so it benefits everyone all the way around that route. So absolutely, we're on the brink of pulling the trigger on that. Lisa commented, I'm very keen to start making short videos of the business, starting with who I am and what festivals, events, locations I go. I think it's very effective but time consuming. You guys do it very well. So is it one thing you can include in marketing? Sure. In helping you with it, is that what you mean? We would.
Well, I think if we had something that showed Aaron, here's us at an event.
Oh,
What
gotcha.
we need, Lisa, is an idea of what you'd like to see.
Yeah, and actually, like I have footage right now. I just followed Gordon and Bronco setting up for an event, so it shows packing a kiosk, and going to an event, setting up, and want to do quite a bit more of that. But absolutely, we can. If that was your question, I hope we're approaching it right. But yeah, and be looking for that. We have a lot of content coming. Okay. Anything else?
Aaron, I think her question was more, you could send a short video to an event coordinator and show who we are. So you'd show the flavor station and the setup and or the bus or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
That I could have this 30-second video to say, look who we are.
That's a great idea. You know what? We will do that. We'll make one that's very pretty. The event coordinator doesn't necessarily need to see the prep and all that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Just a short thing to say, here's Snowy.
Right. Yeah. That's a great idea. We'll do that. A pitch DVD.
So Lisa, again, send us 5 or 10 ideas of different things you'd like to see.
Yeah. In fact, all of you. That's content that you would like from Snowy. Yeah, content that you would like to see from us, please. And obviously, if you are watching this after in a recording, email us. My email is Aaron, AARON, lyle@snowy.com, or email Lyle, Lyle, @snowy.com, or Estella, Estela, @snowy.com, and say, hey, we would love to see this content. We would love to see this. It's I've said it 100 times in these webinars. A lot of times we're so involved that we really want to know what you want and to gear it around that. So please let us know.
The best feedback is from you guys.
Yeah. So how effective are inline store locations versus a snowy building? What is an inline store location?
And if you have a shopping center, like a store where a Hallmark is, that's an inline. I would say the difference is night and day.
You're talking actual like storefront in like a strip mall?
Yeah, you're in a strip mall in a store. I've never seen one do well.
Yeah.
Now, if it's an ice cream shop with it snowy in it, those have done well. But snowy by itself, I've never seen one that's been highly successful.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. If your shaved ice is like another product of something else that's there as well, so you have multiple things to draw people there, I think that justifies that overhead quite a bit more. I wouldn't want to pay that overhead just doing shaved ice. It would freak me out.
And on top of that, if you sign into a lease and you're stuck there, and most of them want you year round, and there's not enough business in the off, year round to justify that expense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so mobility is the success. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even at your permanent locations, the ability to move that location somewhere else, that's huge.
And it's part of your negotiation when you go in, say, look, we're going to set it up. You have a 15-day opt-out clause in your contract. If it doesn't work, go to a new spot.
Yeah. And I have a question here, Tamara. I just want to show you this, and so people who are watching can see it as well. If you go to our blog, there's actually two different places. You can go to the blog, and you can see entries there that refer to the recordings. By the way, her question was, how can I access the other webinars? You can come here. By the way, our shaver was on The Bachelorette. Let's point that out to everybody. And then like here's the last recording we did on natural flavors. That link will take you there. If I put in parentheses recording, that's the actual video. So that'll take you to here, and it'll have a YouTube window in here to where you can watch it. The other place you can go is to media. And struggling. And then you can come in here and we have videos that are educational that can show you things, and then a lot of these are webinars here. So this is a webinar we did on franchises versus business opportunity, and so on and so forth. We have the natural flavors one is right here. Anyway, so all of those are available there. Raquel has another question. How does one approach shopping centers owners for parking lot space? What is an acceptable rate for a space? And that is all geared on traffic. There's two approaches that I've had, and I'll let Lyle and Estella talk after if they would like. You can approach corporate, and you can also approach the local manager. One experience that I shared earlier in another webinar is Walmart came out with a corporate policy to not let any more mobile vendors in front of their stores. Well, we heard that and we were like, man, that's a bummer, because Walmarts were always great locations. Well, all of a sudden we have a bunch of customers that are calling in. We're like, hey, so where's your location? We talked to people about it, and they're like, we got a Walmart. I'm like, how did you do that? And they just said they went in and talked to the local manager, and he had the ability, the authority to say, yeah, I'm doing it. Let's put you out there. So, and sometimes that local manager will be like, take it up with corporate. So, and the other thing that I want to point out here too is, like we have stores out here, and I'll just use this as an example. We had Albertsons, which is now a Fresh Market, and everywhere there was an Albertsons, there was also a Rite Aid, and we could never get into the Albertsons. They had like a corporate policy, and so we would go to the Rite Aid, and they would let us right in front of their store. you can always look for places around. You can also look for the parking lot, the leasing company, and approach them directly, because usually they can say, yeah, we want you here, and you'll be out somewhere in the parking lot. There's many different ways to approach it. Now, as far as the rate, man, it varies a lot. I've had locations that have varied from like $350 a month all the way to like $1,100 a month. And a lot of that is based on foot traffic. You really need to pay attention to how many people are going through there, and how many of those are families that'll stop and like get shaved ice for the whole family and stuff like that. So uh, it varies. You'll kind of just have to play it by ear. But in my opinion, I would always start like somewhere about $350, $500. Don't start higher than that. If they want much more, they'll let you know.
You can also, besides going directly to some of the big chains like Aaron was talking about, Walmart, if that doesn't work out, you can always go to the property owner, because they don't own that land, probably. Some do, some don't. So if you go to the property owner that owns that area, you could probably rent an area also directly from them. It may not be close to Walmart or a grocery store, but it could be in the same parking lot. But you can do also that as well. I've seen people do that.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Anybody else? Raquel says, great info. Thank you. And again, feel free to contact us, call us for any other questions, information that you have. If we could have a live webinar feed constantly, we would do it. But yeah, please call us. We would love to help you through making this decision and moving forward. So, okay, thank you everyone. I think we're going to draw it to a close. And thank you for coming out and watching us. Thanks especially for those of you in Japan and watching us at what is it now, 3 in the morning. So you're great to do it. Paul said, as always, folks, great info. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you all. Actually, we won't do it next week. We've moved to bi-weekly, so we will not have a webinar next week, but we will have it the week following, and we'll talk to you then. Thanks.